level. I said I'm going to another level. Kansas City, say it out. Hey, I'm going to another level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm going to another level. Can you take it up higher? Take it up higher.
For you, come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. We need a move. Oh, we need a move. Oh, we need a move. Oh, God, we need you to move. We need you to move. Oh, I worship you for your move. Oh, God, we need a move. As we're ready to go into the new season, God. As we're ready to transition, God, we need a move. God, our feet, God, our feet, oh, we need a move. Say, we need a move. Oh, this is a move.
You've been waiting and you've been praying.
Like that song. This is a move. Come when you call on a move, God begins to move when you call. So this is a move. Have your way, yeah, this is a move. This is a move. This is a move. This is a move. Oh, this is a move. This is a move. So this is a move. This is a move. Glory to your name, Jesus. Hallelujah. Bless your wonderful name, Jesus. Hallelujah. Well, I want to welcome you, amen, to High Praise Ministries Next Level Service, amen. As I say each and every week, I want to thank all my faithful Facebook followers, all my faithful YouTube subscribers. I do not take it lightly that you've given me this opportunity to give to you what it is that God has given to me to give to you. My God, we need a move. We need a move. We need a move. God, we need a move. We need a move. I'm excited about today's message, amen. Can you give me just a little more room there? I'm excited about today's message because when you've been dealing and going through some things and having to face some things, and God has you release something He's been holding, that you've been holding on to for quite a while. It's an exciting experience. I have been holding on to this word for a little while. Because, yeah, that's good right there. Because God has not given me the release to give this word until today. Before I get started, because I like doing things like this, I want to thank my good friend, Brother Randall Williams, who's come out to be with us on today, all the way from Columbus, Ohio, amen. Come out from my covering church, Pastor Howard Williams, 1875, Tamarack Circle, North Columbus, Ohio, 43229. Victorious Life Christian Center, amen, amen. I appreciate him. He's a good dude. He's a good brother. Got a lot on the inside of him that God is yet waiting to release him because he's stepping out and doing some things he ain't used to doing. Watch what God do. I'm excited about today's message. I really, really am. It's ironic that God would have me release this message on today after all that has gone on. But let's go ahead and get into this. So, we're getting ready to transition into a new year. 2019 is getting ready to close its doors. And we'll open our doors in 2020. One of the first things God began to show me about the close of this year and going into the new year, because everybody got a New Year's message. If you're a preacher worth your salt, you got some type of message for 2020. One of the first things God began to show me is he said, I want you to understand something, son. I need you to understand that this transition is unlike any other transition before it over the last 10 years. Because with this transition, you're not only walking into one new season, you're walking into two new seasons simultaneously. Not only is it the close of a new year, it's the close of a decade. And so for the last 10 years, we have seen only one transition. This year will mark a dual transition and a dual new season that we're going to go into. I said, okay, God, I like that. It's pretty good. I feel halfway deep about that. I really do. But God said, but that's not all. Because this season is so important, because the closing this thing out right is so important to the next 10 years of our lives, God said the body of Christ needs to close this thing out right. I said, okay, God, what you telling me? What you telling me now? What you telling me? Help me out. Those of y'all who know me, y'all can see my towel on this side. I'll have my notes, but this time is purposeful. God ain't let me write down notes today. This is going to be more of a prophetic preaching than a prophetic teaching. Y'all know. So he says, listen, son. What you cannot do more this time than any other time in your life is go into these next two seasons with stuff being carried from you. What you cannot do is fight old battles in a new season because you'll lose. So God said to me, you began to show me some things, just flashes of different people and different issues and different situations. He began to show me how we have left some battles on the table. It felt like we won the battles. It felt like we wound up dealing and getting the victory. But the reality is that we have not finished the battle. And then he began to show me there's some battles that we just stopped fighting altogether. Some things that we just stopped dealing with altogether. Some instances, some dreams, some visions, some things we just stopped pursuing altogether. And God said at the close of this year, you need to fight these battles head on. So he asked me an interesting question. Well, at least it was interesting to me, especially when I saw where he was taking me. I hadn't preached this scripture in, man, I want to say maybe 5 years. Haven't dealt with this scripture that I can recall anyway. He asked me a question. He said, son, is your quiver empty? I said, what? I kind of knew what he was talking about because I know what a quiver is, but I don't walk around with a quiver. What you mean, is my quiver empty? For those of y'all who don't know what a quiver is the holster for your arrows when you're an archer. That big sash they carry on their back. They're able to draw their arrow from it, put it in the bow, so that they can shoot. He asked me, is my quiver empty? And I began to think about that. And I began to think, well, God, it's supposed to be empty, isn't it? Because, it's supposed to have ammunition in it because I need to fight the enemy. He said, that's the problem, son. The problem is that you still have some arrows left in your quiver. How are you going to win a battle? How are you going to win a war? How are you going to get the victory? And what you continue to do is hold back on your ammunition. If you continue to hold back from shooting at your enemy, if you continue to hold back because you feel like he's wounded, if you continue to hold back, how are you going to get victory? So I ask you the same question God asked me. Is your quiver empty? Go to 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. I got two alternate things I'm going to show you in this message. because I need us to get free before 2020. We have the rest of this month to close out in victory. 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. That was starting at verse 14. And the Bible declares, Elijah had become sick with an illness of which he would die. Then Joash, the king of Israel, came down to him and wept over his face and said, "Oh, my father, the chariots of Israel and their horsemen." And Elisha said to him, "Take a bow and some arrows." So he took himself a bow and some arrows. And then he said to the king of Israel, "Put your hand on the bow." So he put his hand on the bow. Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. And he said, "Open the east window," and he opened it. Then Elisha said, "Shoot," and he shot. And he said, "The arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria. For you must strike the Syrians at Aphek till you have destroyed them." Then he said, "Take the arrows." So he took them. And he said to the king of Israel, "Strike the ground." So he struck 3 times and stopped. And the man of God was angry with him and said, "You should have struck 5 or 6 times. Then you would have struck Syria till you have destroyed it. But now you will only strike Syria 3 times. Only strike Syria 3 times. And last time I preached this message about 5 years ago, I don't know what I titled it, but I know I emphasized don't stop shooting for the victory. God began to replay some of that back in my mind. Began to show some things to me in this time around that I didn't see the last time. For instance, I know that Elijah, the man of God, was mad on his deathbed. Do you understand how angry you got to make somebody for them to go out mad? I got like 20 seconds left to live, and you have utilized my 20 seconds to tick me off. But what I didn't recognize was how important his anger was. Because Joash was not obedient to what it was that Elisha said. Let's examine this. First, he told him to grab some arrows and a bow. And he grabbed the arrows and the bow, and I imagine he grabbed a handful. The Bible doesn't indicate how many he grabbed. But it had to be at least a handful. And in order for him to shoot, he either had to do one or 2 things. Put them back down, which I don't believe he would have done, or put them in his quiver. Then he puts his hand on the bow, and Elijah the prophet puts his hands on the king's hands. That's him giving him the anointing for what he needs to do. The battle you're getting ready to face, the man of God has anointed him to do so. Such it is that God is saying that the battle that you're facing, the struggle that you're dealing with, all the stuff that's coming up against you, I have already anointed you to deal with it. So he tells him to open the east window and shoot out of it. And once he shot out of it, he gave him a prophetic declaration. He said, "That is the arrow of deliverance by God." And not only is that the Lord's deliverance, but it's your deliverance from Syria. Now here's the thing before I get into his instructions. Give you a little background. Israel had become very corrupt, very ungodly. Its kings, including Joash, were very ungodly. And so as a result of their ungodliness, God allowed Syria and another nation to overtake them, oppress them, and put them in bondage. So then there's a prayer that goes out, and I believe it was Joash who did this, up above in the 13th chapter. He prays and says, "God, help us, God. We need to get out of this thing. God, help us, God. They're killing us, God. They're oppressing us, God. We can't take this thing no more." God has compassion. I never read where they repented for their wrong. But God had compassion and allowed them to escape Syria. And they were living in tents. And then the Bible says that even though God allowed them to escape Syria, they still stayed in their mess. So much so the Bible said they walked in their sin. To the best of my recollection, I ain't never ever seen biblically written before they were walking in their sin. I've seen walk according to the Spirit, walk in the Spirit. I've seen all that. I've never seen walking in their sin. That means they must have been ingrained in their sin so deep that it was in their walk. And so now, because they have sinned like that and didn't leave their sin, even though God had allowed them to be delivered from it, here comes Syria. We're coming to get you. This is why King Joash came to Elijah on his deathbed and said, hey, look, they're coming for us. We need some help. You still sinning, but you need help. This is why he had to let them know that the Lord's deliverance was going to come. But here's the instruction now. If God's going to deliver you, you got to go to Syria and meet them at Aphek. And you will strike them until they are destroyed. Now he tells them, strike the ground. Takes his arrow, strikes the ground. Takes another one, strikes the ground. Takes a third one, strikes the ground. This is what ticked the man of God off. And I got angry reading this about Elisha being upset. The reason I got angry was because, how are you going to get mad at me? You never told me how many arrows to shoot. No point during the scripture do you see Elisha gave him instruction on how many arrows to shoot until you look a little closer. The instruction that Elijah gave him as he shut out the east window was to strike Syria until you have destroyed them. He grabbed a handful of arrows. One of them's already been launched out the window. He can't get that one back. But he got a handful still of arrows. And he had to know what Elisha meant because he didn't strike it just once. Elijah said, strike the ground. This is me. You tell me to hit the ground, I hit the ground. I did what you asked. But the king had to understand what these arrows represented, because not only did he hit the ground once, he did it 2 more times. This is why Elisha was mad, because he was trying to get him to understand you have an enemy seeking to destroy you, and what you decided to do was with your handful of arrows, you shot 3. If you would have shot more, you could have killed them. All you did was wound your enemy. All you did was wound them in the battle, and there's nothing more dangerous than somebody wounded in battle. If I'm healthy and you're trying to fight me, we may stand off like this all day long. I ain't moving, you ain't moving. I can afford to not move because I'm healthy. So whatever you throw, I feel like my body has the ability to counter and to cancel out. And you do the same. But when I'm wounded like I am right now, I got a hurt ankle recovering from a broke ankle. So right now I'm walking with an ankle brace on. I got 2 bad knees. I got a bad back and sometimes a bad neck and a bad clavicle. I got all kinds of bad issues. I'm wounded. You tell me you gonna fight, I'm beating the fool out of you. I'm taking first swing, I'm gonna rip your trachea out and I'm gonna feed it to your children. Because I'm wounded. I'm hurting. I can't take the chance of you getting the first strike because you may mess me up. So now all he would have done was wounded his enemy. So now they're going to come even harder. And now you get destroyed. So God began to show this to me and said, this is what has happened to my people. All this season over the last 10 years, you've had some battles. You've had some things that you were supposed to fight. And because you wounded it, and because it retreated just a little bit, you felt like you had the victory. Here's something that God had been dealing with me about. He said, son, show me in my word where I told you to defeat the enemy. I told you to destroy the enemy. Here's the difference. When I was a kid, I got into, well, I didn't get a whole lot of fights, but I got into some fights. I won the majority of my fights. But here's the thing. The few fights I lost, I came back the next day. We fighting again. And I kept coming back until I got my win. You may beat me 15 times, but if I get that one, I'm cool. I need my one. I'm going to keep coming back until I get a win. And I can keep coming back because you only defeated me. But when you destroy something, it cannot come back. When you eradicate it, it has no ability to reform and come back at you. We fight some cyclical battles, not because we're supposed to, but because the first time all we did was defeat it, we got happy after defeat. Let me change analogies for you to take it out of the realm of archer and take it into the realm of boxing. What that's like is it's like having a guy on the ropes and you punch him and you got your combinations going and you get them and then you stop to admire your work. That's what happens. We hit the enemy and we stop to admire our work, and now we're upset because we got hit. I thought I was done with you. No, I didn't go down. The fight ain't over. You just had me against the ropes. Our job is not to defeat the enemy. It's to destroy the enemy where he stands. So that the things that you conquer, you will never see again. That's what God told Moses when he drowned Egypt in the Red Sea. He said, the enemy that stands before you right now, you will never see again. Why? Because I destroyed him on your behalf. This is spiritual warfare. As we get ready to go into 2020, we get ready to go into this new season, this new decade, this thing that God had designed and destined us for the greatness of, the thing that God has said to us, I have you, the thing that God has said to us in this new season, I'm going to manifest some things in your life. What I don't want you to do is for me to begin to manifest them in your life in the new season, and you carrying some old battles in because you didn't kill the battle of the old season. Some people you're still dealing with, some issues you're still dealing with, some job security you're still dealing with, some finances you're still dealing with, some dreams you stopped pursuing. All need to go back and fight those battles until you have destroyed them. Joash, he only hit the enemy 3 times and wounded him. So I hate getting my hair cut sometimes. I feel like a runaway slave and a sweating pig. Joash only hit him 3 times. Syria was wounded. And it's pointed out by the man of God saying, you should have struck it 5 or 6 times, twice as many times as you did. Because now you only have to strike Syria 3 times. Which means you're only going to beat them 3 times, but that 4th time when they come back though. God is giving us a chance to get the rest of our arrows from our quiver and unload them on the enemy. This month, we got to unload on the enemy so that the enemy that stands before us and that stood before us all these years and all these seasons and all these crossovers will never see again. 2020 is a year where new beginnings begin to happen. 2020 is a year where God's going to manifest some things. 2020 is a year where he shows you the greatness that's on the inside of you, but none of it will matter if you still got an enemy coming after you. Let me make it one more practical before we go on to the next scripture. Make it one more practical. This one is fresh. This one is dropped in my head. It's like having a stalker. My wife and I, we were in the car. I think we were on the way back from work. I think either you brought this to me or we heard on a radio broadcast something where there was this guy who, no, it was a TV show, I believe it was, I think. We were watching. Well, this girl, she had moved. And she had to move like 9 times because of her stalker. 9 times in 1 year. Most of us hate moving, period. She had to have 9 different apartments in 1 year. All because her past kept creeping up into her present. The thing that she thought that she had beaten, which she hadn't beaten, said, I'm coming back for you. I know that I know you left me, but I'm still here. I know that you said will never be, but I'm still here. So everywhere she popped up, there he was. Then there was one, now I'm thinking about the one you told me about, where this woman that she had moved to her new place, and her ex-boyfriend was living in the attic, and she never knew it. He had been living there for years, and she never knew it. The only reason she found out was because the idiot left some dishes in the sink of cereal that she had eaten. She came home and saw something's wrong here. Hold on, somebody has been in my house. And they found that this dude had been living in the attic for years. That's some of the battles we have been dealing with. They have been living in our house, in our attic for years, and we didn't even realize it, wreaking havoc in our life, wondering what's going on. We've been praying to God, God, help me out. God, help me. God, save. God, deliver. God, do this. And God's like, you haven't got the enemy out of your house. All you did was wound him, but he came back. All you did was cause him harm, but he came back. The reason I gave the analogy about myself when I was a kid is because I can't understand why we as Christians think we can smack the enemy and him not punch us back. Why is we can be doing all this so-called worshiping, so-called praying, so-called studying God's word, so-called witnessing and living a life for Christ that others can see the light of Jesus shine through us, and we don't think the enemy going to smack us in the mouth? Why it is we don't think he's going to attack our family to get to us, to shut us up, so that the light that we're supposed to be using will now be dim. We in warfare. Our battles are warfare. So I had a question that came to me this week by somebody. I ain't gonna call their name. But I told them if they watch, I'll answer the question. I gave them 2 messages to listen to prior to this, and I told them, listen to this message, you'll get your answer. But the question came to me. The question was, are some people just destined to struggle all their life? Because that's sometimes what we see. We see people going through time after time, and feel like they come through one thing, and they go through something else right behind it, and they come through that thing, and now they go through something else, and they come through that thing, they go through something else, and it feels like they have been going through all this time, so it feels like they may just be destined to go through. And so the question came to me, Pastor, are we destined to, are there some people who are just destined and designed to go through? Here's your answer if you're paying attention. No, but let me tell you why no. The why of no is, the reason most people continue to go through is because they never fully defeated the first thing that they went through. Some people have been promised, and I know this because I've spoken out of my own mouth. Some people have been promised healing this year. And they get healed, and then they're sick. And then they're healed, and then they're sick. And it's because what has been happening is we get this small little glimpse of healing, and we start praising about that small little glimpse of healing instead of taking that strength and fighting harder. We use the cliche, don't wait till the battle is over, shout now. I promise you, our understanding of that cliche is incorrect. And we apply it ignorantly. We believe what that means is, while I'm in the midst of the fight, hallelujah. And when we take that from, and we take it from the Battle of Jericho, where Joshua and the army, they marched around the wall one time each day. On the 7th day, they marched around 7 times. On the 7th time, on the 7th day, they let out a shout, don't wait till the battle is over, shout now. Understand, they did not shout in the middle of the battle. Their shout was a declaration of war. I'm shouting and praising before I start because you're already defeated. But once this fight starts, I ain't supposed to be shouting. I'm supposed to be fighting. I'm not supposed to be in praise and worship. I'm supposed to be fighting. We're doing a whole lot of praising when we should be doing the praying. We're doing a whole lot of worshiping when we should be doing the fasting. We're doing a whole lot of stuff giving glory to God when God said we're supposed to be directing our attention and directing our focus to the enemy we're supposed to fight. So now watch this. Let me show you what it looks like when you do empty your quiver. go to 1 Samuel, the 30th chapter. Am I making sense so far? 1 Samuel, 30th chapter. You'll read verses 1 through 8, and then we're going to jump down to verse 16, and read 16 through 20. The Bible says, now it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag attacked Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken captive the women and those who were there from small to great. They did not kill anyone, but carried them away and went their way. So David and his men came to the city, and there it was burned with fire, and their wives, their sons, and their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives, Anohim the Jezreelitess and Abigail the widow of Nabal the Carmelite, had been taken captive. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord. Then David said to Abiathar, the priest of Abimelech's son, please bring me the ephod here to me. And Abiathar brought the ephod to David. So David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for you shall surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. Jump down to verse 16. And when he brought him down there, they were spread out all over the land, eating and drinking and dancing because of all the great spoil which they had taken from the Philistines and from the land of Judah. Then David attacked them from the twilight until the evening of the next day. Not a man of them escaped except 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. So David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his two wives, and nothing of theirs was lacking, either small or great, sons or daughters, spoil or anything that they had taken from them. David recovered all. Then David took all the flocks and herds that had been driven before their other livestock, and said, this is David's spoil. So here David is, in a similar kind of situation. We at war. And while I'm out fighting a battle, my enemy comes in from the back end and takes my stuff. Burns down my city. Takes all my stuff. And I get back and I see my life is in ruins. And he began to weep. The Bible says they cried. These warriors, these soldiers, these grown men cried until they had no more power to cry anymore. I don't know what that looks like. I can't even give you an analogy of what it looks like to be able to cry until you have no more power to cry anymore. Not that they didn't have no more tears left in their tear ducts. They were so exhausted from crying they couldn't cry anymore. David, he began to get a little worried, because everybody began to blame him and stone this Negro. Because if he hadn't gotten us into this battle, I still have my son, I still have my wife, I still have my daughter. I would still have. This is what we do. We get into situations, we get into battles, we get into circumstances, we get into fights, we get into stuff that we're supposed to get into, and when it doesn't go our way, we blame everybody but us. Oh, if you hadn't said, or if you hadn't done, or if you hadn't, maybe I wouldn't, and if you didn't, maybe this would be it. But everybody does everything wrong except you. You ain't never stopped to take a look at your own self and what you could have done. You ain't never stopped to take a look at your own self and see what you now can do. And so David saw all of this going on, and rather than be like him, he decided, I know how to fight. Because you may be asking, well, Pastor, you've been talking all this time about emptying my quiver and keep fighting and go back and go finish some battles and go back and go ahead and win some battle before the end of the year. You've been saying all this, but how do I go back and do it? The Bible says that David himself in the Lord. The New King James says he strengthened himself. But the King James says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. In other words, what he did was he shook off the fact that this was going on right now. And after he shook it off, he said, okay, God, I got hit. What you want me to do? When is the last time in the midst of your fight, in the midst, watch this, of the look of your victory, have you said, God, what you want me to do? My guess is because they came back to the city that was burned. They walked away from a battle feeling like they had the victory. Only to come back and see stuff was messed up. And so in the midst of victory, David said, God, what you want me to do? Shall I go? Shall I pursue? Shall I overtake them? I told you a few weeks ago, it is impossible for you to fail. So if it's impossible for you to fail, David knew that if he went, they was going to win. But should I go? Is this a battle I should fight? Is this a battle that I should go after? Joash came to Elijah saying, they bring in the battle to us. David saying, God, shall we take the battle to them? And the difference of the two is, Joash waited on the battle to come his way. If you knew you had a prophet in the midst, a show enough prophet in the midst, had the ability to see for your life, and you knew that you had just escaped bondage, why would you not seek the voice of God, whether through the man of God or through God himself? Seek the voice of God and say, God, I know I escaped the bondage, but what shall I do now? All they did when they got to their little tents was they went back to the sin of lifestyle that got them in bondage in the first place. All they did was go back to their old selves. They dumped the old up and put on the old man back again and said, we're going to do what we're used to doing. And it wasn't until trouble decided to come find them, because the enemy will never allow someone to escape his presence without him going after him. This is why, side note, here's a free nugget for you. This is why it's so important when you pray the prayer of salvation for someone, that you keep up with them, that you talk to them, that you help guide them, you mentor them, because the enemy is coming after them because they ran away from them. What parent, thank you, Holy Ghost, what parent, what good parent who loves or wants their child will see their child run away and not run after them? Well, the devil ain't their parents, the devil ain't, that's a lie. Jesus told the folks, you're of your father, the devil. You done ran away from your daddy and went and found you a new daddy. You don't think the old daddy coming after you? And so the Syrians came and were on their way coming for Israel. God, what should I do? David said to God, the enemy crept in when I was out of warfare. God, what shall I do? And you go empty your quiver. The first question you got to ask, God, what should I do? And then, when God told him to pursue and recover all, he had a choice. He could have stopped at getting his wives back, because he was a king. We fight for this, that's it. The Bible says, when they went in to kill everybody. Only 400 men escaped, and that's by the skin of their teeth. They jumped on some camels and hightailed it out there. But those 400 men ain't coming back. Killed everybody. Took back what was theirs. And because they emptied their quiver and destroyed the enemy, not only did they get what's theirs, they got some extra too. Some of the battles we're fighting that we're supposed to get victory in. We're supposed to get back what's ours. We're supposed to obtain the thing God promised to us. And then some. If you notice, with both Joash and David, they were both promised victory. Only one of them was the one who really got it. And the one who really got it is the one who emptied everything he had into this war. He emptied everything he had into this fight. He emptied everything he had into it. The reason we go through, a lot of times like we go through, is because we stopped fighting the enemy because we thought we had the victory. The enemy, I don't want to say he's become very crafty, but because it's happening more now in my lifetime than ever before, I use that because of my experience. He's become more crafty than ever before. He knows how to make it look like you got victory while setting you up. That's why I love the stalker analogy that the Holy Spirit dropped on me. You think you rid of your ex, but they're stalking you. You find the house and there's pictures of places you have been and you ain't seen them. They got articles of your clothing that you couldn't find, you thought you had lost somewhere. It's in their house because they've been in your house. They've watched you in your most intimate moments. You thought you were safe, but they're watching you. That's what the enemy is doing. He's watching you. He lets you think you have the victory. But because there's still breath left in his fight, he said, I'm coming for you. He Arnold Schwarzeneggered you and you didn't even recognize it. I'll be back. He's coming for you. All you had to do was, while he was hightailing it, take him out. But we started praising and worshiping, and God be the glory. Hallelujah. And when God tried to warn us, we missed the warning because all we saw was victory and party time. Celebrate good time. Come on. And you celebrated your way to death because you stopped shooting. You still have arrows in your quiver. You ain't won. So how do I know I'll win the battle? Pastor, how do I know that the battle is over? It's when your arrows are gone. If you can walk and know you have the victory, not think it, not believe it, watch this, and no one have to tell you it, that's when your battle is over. Let me flip the sports one more time. One more time. Because I'm a little bitter over this, so I can incorporate this in this message and still have my bitter. Thursday night, my Cowboys playing a team that should have beaten in the Chicago Bears. First drive of the game. It went 17 plays, 75 yards, almost 6 minutes off the clock for a touchdown. They hadn't really started fast in the game almost all season. They're up 7-0. And if you look at their sideline, the sideline is excited. They're happy. Yay! We scored! Yes! We're winning! You got 3.5 quarters left in this fight and you're celebrating now. They got their butts kicked. The next 23 points were scored by the Bears. The ending score looked like it was close, but that game was never close. All because the Cowboys stopped recognizing they're still in the battle. You got some fights that you're still in the midst of. Win the war. Some visions God has given to you, some promises He's made to you. You thought you had it or you thought it was too hard. God promised it to you. Go get it. Close this year out by closing this year out. Every fight, every demon, every contrary spirit, Everything that has come against you over the last 10 years, close it out. You got a few weeks to close them out so you can walk into 2020 new and free. No semblance of the bondage. In my mind's eye, when I say that, this is what I picture. It's like a person who's been in handcuffs and someone cuts the chain and their hands can be free. They're now free, but the cuffs are still on. And so, with those cuffs still on, people can still recognize you've been in bondage and you broke out. And when people see someone who's been in bondage having broke out, immediately they want to put them back in bondage. It's the exact reason, thank you, Holy Ghost, I appreciate you helping me teach this thing today. It's the exact reason that when a prisoner breaks out of jail, the first thing they look to do is change their clothes. They want to try to blend in as free people so that no one says, that's a criminal, lock him up. This is why criminals often try to do stuff in the darkness of night so no one can say, criminal, lock him up. For the last 10 years, it's looked like you were free, but the cuffs are still on your wrists. The prisoner tire is still on your body. Your prisoner mindset is still there. Your prisoner heart is still beating. You have not gotten free yet. God said, this month is the month you make yourself free. Hear what I just said. He didn't say it's the month he makes you free. It's the month you make yourself free. Shoot until the victory is yours. Because if you don't, when you cross over into 2020, praise God with the rest of the saints, what you'll find is by March, all of your victory has been swallowed whole. Because the enemy's going to let you celebrate and get you when you least expect it. Right around that March time when you feel like, I really am free. This freedom feels good. I can walk into some things. I can do some things now. And that's when he says, no, no, no. I've been in your act the whole time. I stowed away on your boat. I crept in your suitcase and you carried me over. And now, not only do you have to battle the fight of this new decade, this new year, this new season, you're getting jumped because the old season still got unfinished business. And I promise you, I don't care how much Holy Ghost you think you have, you're not beating getting jumped by your old and new season. This is why some people stay in the bondage that they're in. It's because the old and new season are keeping guard. You have an opportunity in this season, the last portion of this year, go back over your battles, every spiritual battle you've ever had, fight until you have the victory. Don't quit. I know, I understand. I'm tired. I'm so tired of fighting. I'm so tired of battling. You don't understand. I'm broken. I'm hurting. I'm tired. I'm so tired, Master. You don't understand how tired I feel like I ain't doing it no more. The Bible said that these men, when they were with David, cried until they had no more strength, including David. So the New King James Version says, David strengthened himself in the Lord. So if you're tired, get untired. You hurt, suck it up and fight. You broken, hold your broken pieces and fight. God never promised you wouldn't get hurt. God never promised you wouldn't be a little broken. God never promised you wouldn't be tired. He promised you victory. And once you get true victory, then you can celebrate until it's time for warfare again. Because both of these things are cyclical. Your season of fight and your season of victory is a cyclical thing. You get to celebrate some. You don't get to praise some. You don't get to worship some. You don't get to give God the glory some. You don't get to have some happiness. You don't get to have some joy. You don't get to have some prosperity. You don't get to have these things. But there's coming a season right after when you don't have to fight again. So you might as well get used to it. Fighting in victory. Fighting in victory. We said we're soldiers in the army of the Lord. Well, come on. Soldiers, fight. Thank you, God. I appreciate that. I'm almost done. I thought I was going to be done with that, with one of those statements there. He just dropped something on me with what he just gave me. So I just told him cyclical. He reminded me of Joseph. And what Joseph said to the king when the king had a dream, when Pharaoh had a dream. Pharaoh had the dream, and the dream basically entailed, he said, I saw 7 fat calves and 7 skinny calves that looked like they were getting ready to die. And what happened in this dream were these 7 skinny calves, they ate the 7 fat calves, but when they ate them, they didn't get, the skinny calves never got bigger. And so Joseph told him what that's going to be is God's going to send you 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And what I need you to do is prepare yourself in the 7 years of plenty so that when the 7 years of famine come, it'll be like the 7 years of plenty because you held on and prepared yourself for the famine. When God gives you victory, it's not a time to just celebrate. Yeah, you get your celebration on. Yes, you recover. But this is also the time that you prepare yourself for the battle that's to come. Because when the battle comes, there's no time to prepare. You just better fight. But he promised you the victory. So why get down on yourself in the midst of the battle when he promised you the victory? God guaranteed you would have it. Your job, I can say it that way. Thank you, God. You have one job. Empty your quiver. Fight with everything you got in you. Fight the battle. Keep praying. Keep commanding in the Spirit. Keep fasting. Keep getting in the face of God. Keep pursuing the dream he gave to you. Keep pursuing the promise he gave to you. And if you have no idea what he said to you, you cannot remember, your first step should be, God, refresh my memory on what it is that I have to do, because if I don't know, I can't do it. So God said, what I need you to do, what I have you to do in order to win this battle is obey what I've given to you. Hold on to the word that I gave to you and fight until you won the war. Not the battle, the war. Thank God for my brother, Pastor Jay, and his lovely wife, First Lady Maya, who came in with their hands lifted up. Bing, bang, boom. Hallelujah. Every time I see y'all, that's what I'm gonna do. Start doing it that way. And Jay, I got extra, just one more for you. I got it just for you. I figured out how to do it just for you. Ping, pang, boom. That's for you. That's absolutely for you. Y'all don't mind me. That's the inside joke between us. But your job is to fight this battle and win this war. I'm so tired of Christians winning battles and losing wars. We win all these battles. Hallelujah. 5 people got saved today in service. And then 15 people leave the church. Hallelujah, we built a new building, hallelujah. But we ain't got nobody to come in. Hallelujah, we prayed and we have anointed several people in the leadership, and 3 of them are pedophiles, 2 of them are hoes, and 1 of them's gay. I'm so tired of us having the battle but losing the war, when God said, if you just empty your quiver, I'll give you the war. Not the battle, the war. The enemy that stands in front of you, you will never see again. Those jokers, the Amalekites, they never bothered David again after he kicked their tail. But Syria, though, they came back after Joash and they kicked his tail. Which one you want? Do you want the battle or do you want the war? I said this before, I ain't said it in a few years. But let me go ahead and say it while I'm here. I'm so sick of y'all with one of my favorite Yolanda Adams songs saying, the battle's not yours, it's the Lord's. The battle's not yours, it belongs to God. That's true, but you still have to fight the battle. What that means, the battle's not yours, it belongs to God. What it means is simply that God is going to take the glory for the victory. Man. You fight, you may get the medal, but the name on the back of your jersey says God. When our basketball team goes to the Olympics and they win a gold medal, they don't get to wear their jersey with their name on it. They got the jacket on, and on the back of it says USA. When they play the song, it don't say they don't play their favorite song. It plays the national anthem of this country. When you fight the battle, you may get the victory, but God gets the glory. That's why you still gotta fight. You stop fighting, you lost the war. And watch this. God still get the victory. Because even if you're out the way, he'll bring somebody else in. As Moses got fired. Joshua came up. Saul got fired. David stepped up. Do you want to be promoted like Elijah was able to pass down the mantle to Elisha? Or do you want to get fired like Moses and Saul? The question is, which side do you want to be on? The answer should be, I want to be on God's side. And I get to be on God's side when I empty my quiver. Last thing I'm going to say is I'm about done. When you get the victory, when you're in the midst of this battle, the reason it's so important that you close out this year before we go into these 2 new seasons simultaneously. The reason it's so important is because not only are you fighting for you, you're fighting for some people connected to you who are supposed to follow you.
Yes, yes.
2020 is guided about Shia. It's going to be a year, there's going to be some explosion of growth. And all we going to have a bunch of orphan Christian babies sitting in an orphanage where they're getting no real love, no real connection, no real teaching, no real anything. Oh, we're going to raise these babies to be strong men and women of God. Spiritual and natural. Some of y'all get ready to get all kinds of pregnant because you're going to birth some natural babies. Some of y'all's ministries get ready to get all kinds of pregnant because you're going to birth some spiritual babies. But if you are still battling the disease in the fight of last season, it will kill your kids too. Tired of us being bound. Tired of us still having the bondage that's supposed to go away when we get real victory. Stop having a retreated victory where you sent the enemy to flight. Have a destruction victory where you've killed and destroyed him and he can never come back that way again. Some things he can never come back at you again because you've already conquered it. Some things he comes back because you just barely squeaked by it. And he's looking at his mistakes. And he said, well, maybe if I do this differently this time, I can get him. And here's the real raw truth. When he does it, more times than not, he gets you. Well, this time we didn't do anything. We was just together. We didn't do nothing. Okay. That's because he got you in the wrong setting. But next time it's in a whole different setting. Now you done got God. Empty your quiver. Win this battle. Win this war. So that you can be free. I'm tired of us not being free. God has given us promised us victory. Stop being bound. Stop allowing the enemy to keep you in bondage from a distance. Kill your spiritual stalker. Empty your quiver. Empty your quiver. Because when you do, 2020 comes. You're going to pull the greatness out of you. And you're going to walk into it. This shirt that I wear, that was designed by my boy Russell, the graphic design artist for High Praise Ministries. It's off of the message I preached a few weeks ago. It says destined and designed. And on the back it says greatness 2020. And the reason I bring this out, not just for shameless self-promotion, because please go to our website, purchase the shirt. But I bring this to you so you can understand what God is promising us. Not just for 2020, but for the next 10 years of your life. I told y'all High Praise Ministries begin to write out the vision for the next 10 years of your life. I know it's difficult. I know it takes some things to try to figure out how am I, and I don't know, but that's why you're supposed to be able to seek God about it, that he gives you the direction on what to do. But he ain't going to give you nothing to do for 2020 until you defeat the demon and win the war that was in 2019. Empty your quiver. So next time you go to draw back for an arrow to shoot, there's nothing to reach for. And you look down at your enemy, he's no longer breathing. I used to wonder why on TV shows, some movies, a bad guy would walk past and kill somebody. He's trying to walk by the body, clip him one more time. That was overkill. You know we dead. Just making sure. You may get up and survive these 9 bullets, 50 Cent. But the last bullet to the head is going to take you out. Take out your enemy. With this battle. Family, home, finance, job, purpose, vision, goal, destiny. Win your battle. Go back and win the war that you're supposed to win. Go back and finish fighting what you stopped fighting. Go back and win. We are victorious. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, I thank you. I praise you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do, God, simply because of who you are. I pray that the word that I have brought forth has been to completion, that the people would hear it. They would go back and empty their quiver. They would examine their lives, examine their battles, that they can win the war. You promised us the victory. It's our job to go get it. So God, give us the willpower to go get it. Go get our stuff and everything else that we can put our hands around. Your promise of abundance, your promise of victory, your promise of the win. So God, let us go get it. Before this year closes out, so we can walk into 2020, the new year and the new decade, on the next level, on our way to do what you called us to do. Touch, bless, and anoint like never before, God, in the name of Jesus. Now, God, because you've gone ahead of us and given us victory, God will be so careful to give him all the glory, all of the honor, and all the praise in Jesus' matchless and wonderful name. Amen, amen, and amen again. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Found again. I said you can stop my sister. Got my liberty. I give you my secrets. Finally free. I will never be bound again. I've got my liberty. I'm finally free. Yeah, I will never be bound. I've got my liberty. I'm finally free. Yeah. Never be bound. You've got the victory. You can be free. I want to thank you. I thank you for hearing us here at High Praise Ministries. We're here every Saturday, 18, excuse me. I went back to Grandma's fault. I went back to Columbus for a second. We're here every Saturday. 3466 took me a second. 3466 Holman Bridge Road, Suite W, inside the great Foundations of the Word Church. We're every Saturday at 1 p.m. Please come and join us, come fellowship with us. Close this year out right. Close it that you can have the victory. I'm finally free, chains to go, got a new song. Come on out and fellowship with us. It's an experience you'll never forget. If you have any questions about this message, any questions about this ministry, if you just need someone to pray with you can email me at jesse.jones@highpraiseministries.com or inbox the High Praise Ministries Facebook page. If you would like to become a satellite member, and I encourage you to do so. If you don't have a church home, I encourage you, allow us to cover you. We can cover you all across the country, all across the world. We have folks viewing from Germany, all kinds of different places that want to hear the word. If you would like for us to cover you, email me at jesse.jones@highpraiseministries.com or inbox the High Praise Ministries Facebook page. I'll talk with you, I'll pray with you, and I'll show you how you can be a satellite member so you know what we expect of you and what you can expect of us. Now, let me put, since I haven't made this announcement like this in a while about satellite membership, let me put this little caveat in here real quick. 6 seconds to put this caveat in here. Don't try to come to me if you already got a pastor. I ain't trying to steal nobody's members. Unless God has called you to lead your ministry, do not come to me telling me, I want you to cover me too, Pastor Jesse. No, ain't no cover two. Anything with two heads is a demon. That's why we don't believe in co-pastors. I'm sorry, I know some of y'all got co-pastors at your church. I know it probably hurt your feelings. But co means equal. Equal means both of y'all got the same say. Both of y'all have the same say. It means there's two heads. Anything with two heads is a demon. But if you don't have a pastor, if you're looking for a church home, looking for someone to cover you no matter where you're at, we would love the opportunity to do so. God has sent you our way. If this has been good for you, and I pray that it has, please don't dine and dash. Do me a favor and sow your seed. All High Praise Ministries members, your seed and your tithe are due. It's not my law, but it is God's law. You have 3 ways you can do so. You can do so by going to our website at highpraiseministries.com. Click on the Next Level Service tab, and you'll see where you can sow your seed. You can go to our Facebook page, click on the Use App button, and it will take you to where you can sow your seed. Or we now have Cash App, so you can cash out the ministry. It's the username is $High Praise. In any instance, no matter which one of the 3 that you do, please indicate what it is that you're doing. If you're sowing seed, please put sowing seed. If you're paying tithe, please put paying tithe. If you're sowing seed and paying tithe at the same time, please do me a favor and indicate which is going to which. It'll help us we begin to start keeping our books together and things like that, because God has some things to get ready to do in 2020. We got to make sure stuff is straight. Amen, amen. If you have not done so already, please do me a favor and like this video, comment on this video, share this video across all your social media websites. Feel free to like us on Facebook at High Praise Ministries. Follow us on Twitter at Real High Praise. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/simplygrace. Know that I love you. I bless God for you. I want you to be free and win the war. Right now, I'm out of time, but not out of word. And until we meet again, I encourage you to grow in God's grace and abide